Hello, and welcome back to Password. Okay, sorry, I was looking at something real quick. Like a message thing came up on OBS. I'm like, what that? Uh,
Yep, about Dean.
what about Dean?
What do you think?
Oh, did he tell you?
Sort of. I pieced it together, myself for the most part.
Excuse me.
At least until he'd explicitly said. So after I went to go ask him something about tonight.
How long did you talk with him about things?
Too long. I only just tagged out with Sal and rushed up here to check on you.
Oh,
So, how are you holding up?
it was terrible. He was so upset, and I felt so bad. But I couldn't not say anything, right?
It's probably for the best this way, yes.
Sal was a big help, though. He was up here spending time with me after he checked in with Dean right after it happened.
Right after?
Well, I went and hid in my room for a bit first, then he came and got me.
You didn't come to talk to me about it?
Sal already told me that I should have, so... Orlando nodded slowly, and I could feel him watching me as I hung my head.
There's no point in bringing it up again, then. Sal's right. Although, Sal's right.
I know.
Did you want to talk about it at all?
There's nothing really to say, is there? Or even do about it.
Well, I guess not. This is just, well, like you said, I thought it's, I think it's right you said something. It's just the timing that sucks.
Like there was ever a good time for this anyway, right?
Did you want to play a game, or do something to take your mind off it?
Not really. Sal and I were playing a board game before, and it helped, but I felt a little dumb about it.
How about movie? And we just cuddle.
No thanks.
You turned down a good cuddle? You turning down a good cuddle is rare. Are you sure you're alright? Should I get Tyson?
Why Tyson?
He's your brother. Plus, he's not so polite to take no for an answer if you're upset.
He smirks and I chuckle, wiping my eyes. I feel like Tyson would just want to go beat up Dean. There's not that's not going to get anyone anywhere outside of just spreading more hurt. Plus, I don't really want to be playing medic.
You think Dean would injure Tyson?
If he was that upset, maybe. Or Tyson would just end up hurting himself. Either way, it's something I don't want to worry about right now.
Right.
A sudden thump nearby made us both turn towards the door to see what made that sound. Sal?
Hello.
He stumbled over, falling to his knees, shy of a beanbag, before crawling into the one Orlando vacated the moment he fell.
What happened?
Was Dean alright?
He's, fine. Well, you don't look fine. I'm just sore. That's all. It'll pass.
But why are you sore?
I said something bad to Dean. It's my fault. How bad are we talking? It doesn't matter. Bad enough that I figuratively poked the bear and got hit for being out of line.
Sal shot me a look, and I found myself nodding, although I had no clue what he was talking about.
Well, can I get anything? Do you need medicine, or... It was just a punch. It wasn't that bad.
Punching people is bad.
Yes, thank you for that, Dave. Well, if Dean's fine for now, did you two want to do anything? Just a movie for now. I don't feel like doing much of anything for a bit.
We watched the movie in silence, and for a while I'd forgotten about what had happened earlier. Orlando, or Sal had said anything either. And the three of us were just legitimately relaxed, without a care in the world. It was nice.
I'm getting kind of hungry. Did you guys want me to get you anything for dinner? No, thank you.
I'm good too, thanks. Orlando left, leaving just Sal and I to watch the movie. By the time it was done, Orlando still hadn't returned.
That was nice.
It was, yeah.
Getting hungry at all?
Is it bad if I say no? I think my appetite has been shot today.
Spoiled your dinner from the scoop of ice cream.
Not that. I guess just too much on my mind.
I understand.
He got up and offered me a hand, pulling me to my feet.
Would you mind coming with me somewhere?
Where did you want to go?
The pool.
I tense as the prospect of going outside, partially because of the woods, but specifically out the back because of where Dean last was.
Please, we don't have to stay long. I just want to go for a bit.
Okay. Sal had me shielded most of the way there, even so far as opening the gate for me and letting me scoot under his arm.
Thank you, Dave.
For what?
For starters, joining me. You didn't have to, but you did anyway.
It's not so bad. I'm a little on edge, but we're safe, right?
I believe so, yes.
So, why did you want to come out here anyway?
How is it the best way to frame this?
Is it difficult?
Admittedly, it's a little shameful, but I feel the most comfortable here, funnily enough.
Shameful?
I didn't expect you to potentially react well to this, but I want you to know that it needs to be said regardless, alright?
Okay.
In lieu of what happened with you and Dean, truthfully, it made me happy a little bit.
Happy? Why?
And this is why it's shameful for me to admit. I find myself crushing on you a little. On you, I mean.
What? I had a dumb smile on my face, despite Sal struggling to put his thoughts to words.
It felt almost unfair. No, cruel. That's not right. What I mean to say is that I was happy for Dean to be happy, but I felt that after talking to you that I was derived more happiness from your company than I was Dean's, at least in the short term.
He grumbled, burying his face in his hands.
That sounds terrible. What I mean is closer to feelings.
Feelings, huh?
Yes, I have feelings for you. I don't know what these feelings are, but you could never... but you ever consider, maybe, once we're all off this mountain.
You mean a date?
I can't say I'm the best at this, but yes, a date. Not that you need to say yes, mind you, just an option.
I think I'd like to go on a date with you.
What?
I don't really know how to put it either, but you understand me. Or at least that's what I feel. In a way that's different than the others. Maybe Tyson, but he's different.
He's your brother.
Right, but you, well... I started to chuckle and wandered in closer.
Well, this worked out well, I think. Or at least, as well as it could have, given the circumstances.
What happens now? Do we kiss? Hug?
Oh, were you wanting to do those things?
Isn't that normal?
Well, I can't say that I have much in the way of experience.
With hugs?
Anything beyond. I'm curious what I'm supposed to. But I suppose the drive has never really been there. So, if you're expecting me to be wild in the bedroom, we might have some problems.
It's not like I have any experience either, so I guess if we ever wanted to try something, we could talk it out first.
Thank you.
His smile faded fast, and he shook his head.
I'm going to have to go through all of this again with Dean when I tell him.
You need to? Can't we just not tell him? Nothing happened yet.
I'll blame your excitement for clouding your judgment, but it's only fair, he's told.
Right.
He's going to be upset, but I'll wear this one. It won't last, and eventually he'll be right back to his normal self.
So, does that mean you're going to go tell him?
Not right now. That conversation can wait. I just want to spend more time with you right now.
He sat down and dripped his feet into the water, splashing about gently.
Sit with me.
I did as he did, although rather than enter the water, remained with my legs crossed.
I came to the decision as well. Something that I wanted to tell you.
What did you decide?
I want to become a police officer. No.
Really? Okay.
No more than entertaining the idea. No more entertaining just the idea. But I've decided that I cannot be living in the shadow of my sister. What she wanted for her life is not my responsibility to fulfill.
Oh, well, that's,
I want to protect people. I'm getting the impression that it might be harder than what it appears to be now. But it's worth a shot.
You're sure this is what you want to do?
Physical therapy is nice enough, but my heart isn't in it. Basics, like first aid and CPR, are nice skills to have, but it's not a career aspiration.
Well, this is good, right?
It's more good than bad, at least. I imagine there might be some trouble moving forward with Orlando's family, but, well, they're hardly nice people, are they?
Do you think Orlando will be upset?
Conflicted, more like. But it'll also be something to deal with later. It can wait until after I get accepted into the academy, maybe. Or if he asks about my career.
So does this mean you're not moving away then? Or am I just being hopeful?
Assuming I can get posted here, then yeah, I'll still be local.
I look up at the darkening sky, a smile on my face. That's good. Real good. I shiver, the evening air nipping at me already.
It's gonna be colder by the pool, thanks to the water. You should probably head inside.
What about you?
I'm going to stay out here for a little longer.
Alright, just don't stay out too late, okay? I step in through the back door and looked around, feeling the warmth of the house hit me compared to outside. Wait, I step in through the back door and look around, feeling the warmth of the house hit me compared to, okay.
Why were you outside?
Huh? Oh, I hadn't heard him approach, or maybe he had always been there. Still, he gave me a curious look as he waited for my reply. Was just talking to Sal.
Not Dean.
Did you hear about what happened?
Piece it together.
What are you doing here then?
Came to see how you were doing. You good?
I'm good, yeah.
Makes one of us.
Wait, why? What's wrong?
Just can't shake this headache. Almost gone, but fuck, is that last little bit persistent.
Oh, well, I thought back to what Thanatos had planned and nodded slowly. You should take my bed again then. If it's helping so far, may as well as if another night helps it complete. If it's helped so far, may as well see if another night helps it completely, right?
Where are you going to sleep?
Could just swap again for the night. That suits me just fine.
Sh- sure it does. But you're right. I could do with a good night's sleep, and your room is better than mine.
It's just for tonight, though. I want it back tomorrow.
Might have to fight me for it.
You never know. I could win.
Yeah, well, whatever. You heading to bed already?
Yeah, I think so. What about you?
Gonna go get something to eat then. Fuck. Maybe I'll turn in as well.
Alright, well, if you need anything from your room, just come on in.
Wasn't gonna go knocking anyway.
Well, good. He shrugs, shaking his head.
Night, Dave.
He walks towards the dining room and disappears inside while I headed upstairs to his room. Stretching out, I look around, taking note of the mess still littering the place. Thanatos, are you here yet? Tyson's borrowing my room tonight. Just so you know. I got nothing in reply, and for a few moments that stretched after I started to worry. But upon checking under the bed, I saw him laying there still, alive as much as he could be from the look he gave me, but he resumed just staring forward immediately after, as if waiting in silence. A knocking on the door made me sit up, and I called out for them to come in, assuming it was Tyson.
Dave, I was wondering, why are you on the floor?
Oh, just checking the room over, I guess.
Ah, all right.
Is that really all you were wondering?
I was wondering if you wanted to spend the night together.
You mean like...
Nothing more than that. I just feel both of us could use a good cuddle after everything that happened today. I understand completely if that's potentially a bit too much right now.
No, that'd be great, actually. Just, Tyson's using my bed, so...
We can use mine. No offense to Tyson, but I'd sleep better if I wasn't surrounded with piles of stolen things from around the house.
No, I get it. Let's use yours. Sal led the way over to his room, and I snuck one last look at Thanatos, who seemed to once more acknowledge I was there before he is resuming his wait.
Oh, would you like to have a shower first?
Do you mind?
Not at all. Go ahead.
He switched off the light and sat down on the bed, as seemingly willing to wait until I was done. Won't be long. By the time I was out of the shower, Sal was down to his underwear and back in bed. Folding back the blanket, I got in next to him and sighed upon feeling a cushioned warmth. It seemed to be a pattern with him, where I found myself using his front as a cushion, more on him than off him, with his claws playing with the length of my back carefully.
Good night, Dave.
I yawned as I went to reply, but found himself falling asleep before I could get out the word, rocked to sleep from the rise and fall of Sal's chest. Okay. We will do that. Excuse me. Load. This video is looking a bit short, so we'll do a bit of loading. Yeah. We'll do Roswell's next, I guess. I hope that's okay. I feel like I'm working backwards in this, if you know what I mean. Like, Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll work it backwards, right? Okay. Huh. I was about to say, is there gonna be no, like, new dialogue with the Roswell scene? Like...
Is this because of what I asked you yesterday?
A little, yeah. Well, maybe not just a little bit. A little, but it's... yeah.
I'm sorry to have asked that of you, but... Well, you know how it is.
I know. All the same, I can't just not have the talk with Dean either, you know.
No pressure. Either way on my end, but yes, I agree. You should talk to Dean about it, regardless of what you decide for me.
Right. Oh, okay. Man, we're always turning down the spare. It feels a little bad. In a daze, I wandered back inside. My face felt numb, my mouth drooped at the corner, and I just didn't know how I was meant to be feeling. Sadness for sure. Guilt was a solid maybe. This mix of emotion was new, but just as unpleasant as I needed something to make it stop. I feel sick, and the cramping in my stomach made me pause, grabbing onto the railing of the stairs before I could take more than the first step up. Excuse me. I didn't even know where I was planning on going, but I ended up sitting down all the same. With my face buried in my hands, I just sobbed. No tears, just whining out quietly as I let my emotions run free and vent in the only way I could manage. It was exhausting all the same, though. I wondered if I should get Sal or talk to Orlando about what had happened, but part of me didn't want to talk much at all, given the last conversation upset someone that much. Roswell sat down quietly beside me. I didn't even notice him approach, and couldn't say which direction he appeared from. He stayed quiet, carefully placing a hand on my back and resting it there to the point where I could barely feel it at all. But after long enough, he broke the silence between us.
Are you okay?
No.
Alright.
The rubbing on my back started in slow circles, and to his credit, it made me feel a little better, but not enough to magically make the problem go away.
Did you want to talk about it? What happened?
You know about it already.
I couldn't make maybe an educated guess, but no. I just saw you like this, and it felt serious.
It was. I don't know.
Did you want me to leave you alone, or can I keep you company?
Please stay. I don't really know how I'm feeling right now, but I feel bad.
Bad? Why bad?
I think I broke up with Dean, or like ended whatever thing we must have had was. He nodded slowly, dipping his gaze. When he offered nothing in reply, I continued. He didn't take it well. There was yelling, and I thought I might have gotten punched, but he wanted to hear it as bluntly as possible. I don't know if that's better or worse, really.
It's hard to say. I could imagine why you'd want to be told in simple terms what's happening.
Yeah?
When I was told about how long I've got left, they were very clear about it, what was going to happen, that I was dying, and so on.
I quickly looked around to see if anyone else was within earshot, but Roswell didn't seem to care.
For things like that, I can imagine why eliminating any room for doubt is important.
Telling someone you don't want to date someone isn't as important as that, though, is it?
You tell me. From how I found you, it seems like it was weighing enough that you were affected in a big way.
But that's different.
Different how?
He shook his head, standing up and skipping down to stand on the floor in front of me.
Both of them are life-shaking events, maybe at different points on the same scale, but the same scale, nonetheless.
I slumped, pulling my gaze away. I guess so. I just feel gross for doing that to someone else. Huh. Okay. I assume that's not wind, right? No, that's a truck. Probably a snowplow. That was real loud for me. Probably not for you, but for me. It was a little spook. I guess so. I just feel gross for doing that to someone.
Would you rather not say anything to Dean if you could go back and do it over?
Well, that's not good. That's not a good option either. How's that fair?
Exactly my point. It might hurt now, but it's the best,
Excuse me.
But it's for the best you said something now as opposed to waiting. Take it from someone who really can't afford to wait.
I got up and shoved my hands in my pocket, looking him over. You know, I'm still a little shaken after what you told me yesterday. Now you're being so casual bringing it up. That's actually happening, isn't it?
Everyone dies, Dave.
That's not what I meant, and you know it.
Well, what's the alternative? You know now, and there's no point in just pretending we didn't talk about it.
Sure, but I didn't like the thought of you I don't like the thought of you, yeah. Yeah, I don't like the thought of you yeah, okay. He cut me off by putting a hand on my arm.
Would you rather I not bring it up?
A little, yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, like, I get it. But can we just talk about something else right now? I'm already feeling kind of down.
Right, yeah, okay.
What are you up to now, anyway?
Nothing really. I was kind of bored, and just noticed you sitting there.
No one else is doing anything?
Well, I think Sal is upstairs chatting with Haas about something. Orlando, I'd imagine, is in the kitchen, and we know where Dean is.
And Tyson?
Haven't seen him since breakfast.
Okay, well, did you want to do something?
Sure. Any ideas?
Not really. I kind of feel like drawing a little, but I don't have any of my stuff. Just a pen and my notebook.
That's not good enough?
No! No, Roswell, that's not good enough. I guess it'd be fine. It's not really something we can do together, though.
I'd be happy just reading a book while you draw. I don't think we necessarily need to be doing the same activity to enjoy each other's company, but...
Unless you want to watch a movie.
But you're going to be thinking about things during the movie, aren't you? I'd say it's better to let what's in your head out on a paper, even if it's just scribbling.
You're probably right. I watch as Roswell started back up the stairs, stopping halfway up before looking back at me and gesturing me to follow. After stopping off in my room, and then again at Roswell's, we entered the conservatory and got ourselves comfortable. Roswell sat by the window with a book, and I opened my notebook to a fresh page after skipping past all the notes I'd taken so far after the vault.
Got something in your mind, for your drawing?
Not really. Was just going to let it happen, I guess. Wow, he's just gonna let what happens happen. I gulped, hearing me say the words and remembering the words echoing through my head. Okay. A chill went down my spine, and I shuddered, unrestrained.
Cold?
Just shaking off a bad thought.
About Dean?
About death, I guess.
Did you want to talk about it, or?
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, you just let me know.
I could feel him watching me for a little bit before turning his book back, turning to his book, and I stared, laying down lines. Okay. Scratchy and messy. I wasn't even sure what I was drawing until I had a face and found myself just drawing myself. Occasionally, I'd look across to Roswell to see if he was watching, but he was just idly reading. What are you reading anyway?
Did you really want to know?
Is it a complicated book?
Not explicitly. More implicitly. If that makes sense.
No.
Oh, well. Let's see. You know the story of Hansel and Gretel, right?
Frowning, I thought back to my childhood. It was an old story, so I just assumed everyone had known about it. 2 kids, a forest, a gingerbread house.
Right. That's the version you'd expect to hear, right?
That's not what's in the book, I'm guessing. Roswell shook his head, setting the book down after marking the page.
This version is a bit strange. A pseudo-cannibalism in a cult. It's a very strange version, just because of the various symbolism.
What kind of symbolism?
The villain was a rabbit, typically associated with luck, or something the moon. Sometimes the moon, I suppose. Not necessarily, well,
Eating people?
right. Like, I suppose in this story the idea that there's a parallel between the rabbit and magic, from things like magicians and such, makes sense.
He shook his head, checking over the page again.
It's just bizarre is all.
I suppose. Why are you reading stories like that anyway?
Just for the humor of it. We have a copy of this at home, but Mom was very, I don't know, juvenile. About how silly the framing of the whole thing was. Dad was much the same, but I always had strange reading tastes anyway.
They didn't get you normal books?
Define normal.
I don't know, like books for kids?
I'll have you know that I love reading the nonfiction books that Dad brought home, or even just some summary documents. Case summary documents.
But why?
I found them interesting. All the bad people being judged and being sent to prison, or those that sneakily got away. Just interesting. The world can work that way is all.
That just sounds like bad people getting away, really.
I suppose my view on right and wrong are admittedly a little skewed.
Do you know why?
Well, in what world is a child being diagnosed as terminal ill, right? But it still happened.
I nodded slowly, looking back to my notebook and feeling my whole body go slightly limp.
Sorry. But you can get what I mean, right?
I do, it's still hard to process. Even a story like that feels strange. Who writes a story like that anyway?
Someone with a sick sense of humor. Much in the same way our story is unfolding, right?
Yo, anyone ever watch Princess Tutu? I'm sorry, but like that line of like who writes a story like that? Princess Tutu's a weird magical girl series about like the nature of storytelling and what we get out of it, specifically tragedy. So it's kind of like it's a fucked story, but like it's real good. Kind of old at this point. It was like in 2002 or 3 that it was made, so most people don't remember that it exists. Yeah, this line as well. That fucking writer. What do you mean?
Some would argue that this is evidence that God isn't benevolent or omnipotent. I also imagine Orlando would have opinions about the role of God plays, about the role God plays games too. Being that only to be slain or ousted from control.
I don't really know where. I didn't really know you were religious, Roswell.
Oh, I'm not. I'm much more believe in science than religion.
Oh, why are you talking about gods?
I guess I'm looking at it in the sense that if this was all by some grand design by higher power, they're a dick.
I snort as he frowns, but he looks thoughtful all the while.
Which is why I'd much rather take control of my fate where I can, right?
And how do you do it?
I guess it'd be my brand of bravery, perhaps. I also mean that I get to decide what happens to me, and being on a timer for sure helps keep me moving forward.
Yeah, but just tell me something.
What?
What keeps you moving forward, even knowing that's going to happen? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm glad you're just... What I mean is,
I think I understand. You're asking why I haven't just decided to spend all my free time on vacation, or seeing the world or something.
Right, like, your dad is a lawyer, so you must have money, right?
A bit presumptuous, isn't it?
I guess, but like, look where we find ourselves, Roswell. Can you blame me, given we're in a mansion?
No, you're right. On both accounts, really. My mom and dad earn a lot of money, but I guess the money side of things just wasn't making me happy.
He looks out the window, sighing.
What's seeing the world going to do for me? Where would I even go? No amount of money can cure what I have either, so money in this instance is just kind of worthless.
I got up and looked out the window with him, spotting him smiling to himself in the reflection.
So, I'd much rather just live a normal life. I feel like when the time comes, I'll be able to feel like I got the most out of it instead of just doing everything as a reminder that I'm on a shorter clock.
Right. I get it.
You don't sound convinced.
Well, it's not that so much as I just find it really unfair.
That's because it's not.
You don't understand. I mean all of it. You dying, us in danger, you being fine with it, fine about it, Dad dying. I breathe in deep and continue talking with my jaw clenched. It's not fair that I'm the one who gets the vault to work. It's not fair that if someone decides that we had to be the ones targeted. It's not fair that the mafia exists. It's all just so unfair.
That's life, isn't it? Or at the very least, life as we know it, as I know it. But that just circles back around to doing what you can and taking control for yourself.
But how? I'm just one guy, and if I'm being honest, I'm not all that special.
Come on, Dave. You're very special.
I don't mean like that. I just mean, like, all these things seem bigger than what I'm able to deal with, even with a gun.
A gun? You think a gun would help?
I don't need to be a gun, really. It doesn't need to be a gun. Just anything that makes me feel like I could fight back or do something. There was a sigh of relief before Roswell chuckled slightly.
You just want a tool to incite change. Thankfully, there are plenty, even in this mansion.
There are?
Well, consider the hidden parts of the mansion, for example. Who knows what lie in those places?
You mean like the library?
I mean, like all of it. Like all of it. You said there's a sword in the museum. If you feel inclined, you can use something more medieval.
He places a hand on my shoulder and picked his book back up.
But remember, most of all, you're not alone in this. No matter what happens, or if the worst case scenario comes to pass, you're not alone.
The worst case scenario?
Again, sorry. Maybe I should stop talking.
No, it's okay. I wish there was something nicer to talk about, though.
Well, what are you planning to do after this month is up?
After we get off the mountain, you mean?
Right. What comes next for you?
Well, everyone's leaving except for Dean, from what I gathered. Tyson might stick around, but he might not. So, I don't really know.
I think you should go to the beach.
Why's that?
Because you like the beach. Chances are, if you were the one organizing this vacation, you'd have tried to get a beach house, and we'd spent the month there.
That would have been nice, actually. Maybe I should...
I can totally imagine you stocking up on some nice paints and markers or whatever, and just draw by the seaside to recover. You might need it too.
Plus therapy. Probably.
Right. And therapy.
Wandering back over to my notebook, Roswell started flicking through his book again. I continued drawing, letting my mind wander over everything Roswell had said, but ultimately thinking about the beach. I think I'm gonna end the part here, so I'll see you around, everyone.